Hey folks, something is rattling inside of this Legend of Zelda cartridge, and it's driving me a little bit crazy, so I figured I was going to take it apart, and I might as well make a video of it, so I'm going to take some other things apart too. So here I have a fuzz pedal I got from AliExpress, I have 2 game cartridges, an NES controller, and an arcade button that I've been using to make MIDI controllers, and I just want to see what's inside it. So here we go, here's the culprit, listen to this. Alright, and while I open this up, I want you to go ahead and guess, and this belongs to Wes Anderson. Wes, if you're watching this, then you can get it back. Go ahead and guess what color you think the inside of the card is. Okay, I have sort of a guess, but I want to hear your guess. Inside of a regular cartridge, it's usually gray, but this one is a gold cartridge. So, let's see, the moment of truth. It's black! I figured it was probably black because some of the gold is rubbing off at this point, and this is what is making the sound. One of the standoffs just broke. There's also some other flakes in here that belong to something else, but I will figure that out in a little bit. So if you haven't seen it before, this is what the inside of an NES cartridge looks like. It's actually a really small PCB down there at the bottom. And here's a replacement cartridge I got on AliExpress. It's basically the same. There's a couple little differences there. And this one has regular screws. The NES cartridges had like a special screw that I had to get a special screwdriver for. And here's the PCB for Legend of Zelda. Actually, these pins are pretty dirty, so I'll clean those off. This is isopropyl alcohol at 99%. You can just rub this on the pins and it should get everything cleaned up. I know some people use deoxit on it, but in the past we just used to blow on it, and that seemed to work pretty well. So there you can see, they're pretty cleaned up at this point. And right there, 1987, that's whenever this cartridge was created. I was 5 at the time. And here are the big chunky chips on here. There's also some diodes. I've not seen diodes on an NES cartridge before. And on the back side, we have more pins. So we'll go ahead and clean those up. I actually don't have an NES, so I guess this is clean for the next person who owns it. And now looking around for the damage, that's where the standoff fell off. And here on the side, you can see where there's a little chunk. I don't even know how that could have come off. And now we'll go ahead and put it back together. You know, the Famicom cartridges are much shorter. I guess it's just because they don't need to be that big to fit these PCBs. I'm not sure why they decided to have the NES cartridges so big. I mean, I love them, but they really didn't need to be that big. It's kind of like a giant floppy cartridge. All right, and no more jiggling. Next, we have a Game Boy cartridge for Mortal Kombat. This is actually a great game on Game Boy, mostly because it's really easy. So it has a single screw that's holding it together, and then I think you just slide it down to open it. Yeah, there we go. And here's the PCB. Oh, this one's actually very pretty looking. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing. Nice and shiny. And on the back side, you'll see this one is 1989. So it's kind of weird that there was just 2 years between that cartridge for Zelda coming out and this cartridge for Mortal Kombat. It seems like those are like a generation of difference between those games. I'll put on the screen when those games were actually released, because maybe there's some reason that there's only 2 years between them. Alright, so that one was just sort of a quickie. You can see that the PCB did fill up most of the cartridge, unlike the NES one. And ain't that something? Alright, next we got the one that doesn't really belong with this group. It is this new fuzz pedal that I got for like $10 off AliExpress. I saw these were selling for like $20 on Amazon a while ago, and then they just randomly popped up for $10. How can you possibly make a guitar pedal for $10? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to see what's inside of it. This thing was actually pretty hard to take apart. I edited the parts where it was shaving metal off of it. But anyways, screwing off the parts here, it all came together, and it's actually pretty complex inside. So here's a diode that's probably used for some clipping, but fuzz pedals are mostly known for these transistors that do the fuzz distortion. There's actually a lot of transistors in here. I didn't realize there'd be this many in a fuzz pedal. Here's the problem with this thing is there's no standoff between these 2 PCBs, and they have like connections that are pretty close together. It works. I tested it before, and we'll test it again when I'm done to make sure it's still working. So for a $10 fuzz, it looks like they didn't cut any corners or anything. It's well built. There's no brand name on there, so presumably they probably took someone else's design and they just released the pedal, or they created this as sort of a white label pedal for other companies. I don't know. $10 fuzz, who cares? And just to make sure, we'll plug it up, and yes, it is still working. Huzzah! There'll be more on this fuzz pedal in an upcoming video, so get subscribed. Alright, next we have an official NES controller from the NES Classic and a knockoff controller that I also got on AliExpress. I'm planning on making a MIDI controller with it at some point, but I thought it'd be interesting to open them both up to see what they look like. They both have different connectors on the ends. One goes into, I don't even know what this NES Classic one goes into, but the other one's a standard USB. Alright, inside of the jank controller, it has this tiny PCB. I've actually seen the PCB for a regular NES controller before, and this one is much smaller. You can see it has a little blob chip on there. And if you haven't seen them beside a controller before, this is how they work. It has these conductive rubber pads, and the button pushes these pads against the PCB, and it makes contact between the points. Unlike speedrunners controllers and stuff, they have to replace these a lot of times. But with the quality of these knockoff controllers, I doubt you would want to use it long enough to it actually become an issue. They both work, I assume. I haven't plugged this one in before. But the controls all feel a bit stiffer on the AliExpress one. Alright, and next, the official NES controller from the NES Classic. Just look at it. It is a pretty thing. Nice chunky PCB. All the pads feel substantial and sticky and good. There's not a whole lot to this board. I see a bunch of 0 ohm resistors, which are usually just used as fuses. Alright, now they're back together. Yeah, this thing is garbage. You can see that they use pretty much the same molds, so the innards are a little bit different, but everything else is pretty much the same. And of course that sticker on there is much darker. So, there we go. You know more stuff now, and you're even smarter than you were just a minute ago. Also, if you like these Blue Mat videos, let me know down in the comments. I just got all this set up, and I think I'm going to make more videos of this, of making MIDI controllers this way, and little synths and all kinds of doodads. And on to our last thing, we have these arcade buttons. I get these on Amazon, and I've just been using them for MIDI controllers, but I don't know exactly how they work, so I wanted to take it apart and see what it looks like. So you can actually get these little sides out. I'm glad I could do that without breaking the button. And the button is like just a standard switch. It's almost like a mechanical keyboard one. But I actually have a clear button, so we didn't really need to take it apart to see it, but we did. So I hope you enjoyed this video looking through all these random doodads I had sitting around the office. If nothing else, we fixed this Zelda cartridge for the next person that's going to own it. Thanks for watching the video, folks. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.